I'm rooting for Mr. Mangini because he's an
Wow.
anti-establishment candidate. He has my full endorsement.
Do you know what I like to do when I'm enjoying a Mexican Coke? I like to look at some baseball cards.
So 1,900 votes, over 1,900 votes as of a couple hours ago on Sports Card Radio in the lead. And I will say, in the lead by a substantial margin is John Mangini. He has put out an incredible get out the vote effort.
And now, here's Johnny.
If you don't know, Mexican Coke is made with real cane sugar and not that corn syrup they serve us here in the States. I love me some Coke. I don't drink it very often though, unless it has Jack Daniels in it. I have a new card that I got from a Rare Set, and I wanted to show it to you along with the other cards I have from that set. But first, I wanted to give a special shout out to Just George. Now, he's over in Korea. He does a show, I usually see it in the mornings, Hobby Drive, where he drives around and talks about the hobby. I'll put a link to his channel, but he only has 250 some subscribers. I think we can do way better than that, guys. Let's show Just George some love. He's been a big supporter of me on Sports Card Radio, voting for me for hobby president. And I'm going to make him ambassador to Korea. You know, baseball is becoming way more popular over in Korea, starting to get an influx of Korean players. So if we want to 10x the hobby, 20x the hobby, we have to reach out around the globe. All right. Hey, thank you for everybody who has been voting for me. I was getting text messages last night that I was on Sports Card Radio. I appreciate it. I appreciate the votes. I appreciate you, Eric Fourleaf. You're going to be my chief of staff. And Dylan Double D, you're going to be the vice president of centering. All right, I want to show you this set. It is the 1925 to 31 multi-year set, and the designation's W590. And these are pretty rare. Now, like most cards in this era, you know, prior to 1933, most cards were black and white. Most cards were cutouts. You know, they stopped doing the drawings like they did in the Cracker Jacks, T206, and all those old sets. However, it was really the first influx of photographs on cards. If you think back to the old cards, most of them were colored in and so forth, like your T206s. You had some photographic cards, like your 1903 Gresham Williams, the mid-teens with your Sporting News, and certainly others. But in the 1920s, they did a lot of photographic cards, and most of them were strip cards, and they were black and white, and that was the era. So without further ado, we'll start with the Rogers Hornsby. Here's a Walter Johnson. And these are blank back. Here's a Ty Cobb. Unique image of Ty. Here's Max Carey. This was the first one I ever got years and years ago. Of course, at that time, I didn't even know what the set was. I had to later identify it. Here is Kenneth Williams. And Kenneth Williams was known, he was the first guy to hit 2 home runs in the same inning. I actually don't know if it's been done again, but that's what he was known for. a good player that's, not in the Hall of Fame. And my newest one, Eddie Collins. These are all low pops. Not easy to find at all. And as you can see, pretty great checklist. So, I'll work on these sets a little at a time. This is one of them. That's really what I have for you. Here's a little Sports Card Radio. Thanks for hanging out with me.
So 1,900 votes, over 1,900 votes as of a couple hours ago on Sports Card Radio. In the lead, and I will say, in the lead by a substantial margin is John Mangini. He has put out an incredible get out the vote effort.
Now,
whoever is
question on that. It does Mr. Mangini even know he's running for this? Are we even sure he's aware of this?
He might have to become aware, because he has a very substantial lead in the hobby president race over on sportscardradio.com, and he might be taking control of this country and this hobby in the matter of weeks, because he has a massive lead over Jeff Wilson. Is a very distant second. Brian Gray is in third. The Sports Card Dad is in fourth. Vintage Sports Shack, followed by Mojo Sports and Card Collector 2, amongst others. So your thoughts on Mangini having such a massive lead? It might even be over 1,000 votes in the hobby president.
Well, yeah, he's either very much aware of this and getting a very good out to, come out to vote message. I can't say that the YouTube algorithm is pushing a lot of Mr. Mangini's content my way. I do believe it's possible that we have like 10 different channels on YouTube, and I tend to consume content under my investing one. And so I get fed not a ton of sports card content over there. So I don't even know what he's producing these days. But when I have watched Mr. Mangini, definitely seems like a man of the people. And so we couldn't have two different people at the top of the ticket. Mr. Mangini, anti-establishment, anti-corporation. And then we have Mr. Jeff Wilson, who's basically like Gavin Newsom. I'm rooting for Mr. Mangini because he's an anti-establishment candidate. He has my full endorsement. And I will be out campaigning for Mr. Mangini, because the rest of these fucking jabronis, in my opinion, are part of the establishment. Whereas John Mangini is not. And I mean, look at what this guy's doing. This is remarkable. A man with 3.8 thousand subscribers, hundreds of views on his videos, is beating Jeff Wilson, who has his wife producing his videos and the government paying for his expenses. So it's a pivotal race. It is, the most consequential election of our time is happening. And Mr. Mangini right now is pulling an upset.